When they were about to go grocery shopping at the supermarket, Maria and Shirakusa agreed to have a cooking competition. Sueharu felt confused about what he should do. Tetsuhiko said that what Sueharu had to do was simply eat whatever Maria and Shirakusa made. He even joked that he would help bury Sueharu if he ended up dying from it. Sueharu then asked Tetsuhiko to eat with him so they could die together, but Tetsuhiko refused. Eri arrived and lightly teased them for arguing. She suggested that they should first decide on a theme for the cooking contest. Tetsuhiko proposed comparing their dishes to local ramen, but Eri called that idea boring. Shirakusa suggested having fried chicken as the theme, and Eri proposed hot pot instead. Maria was surprised to see Eri buying a lot of sake. Eri explained that she wouldn't have to drive anymore once they arrived at the villa, and that the sake was meant to last for 2 days. Rana joined them as well with the task of recording their activities. At that moment, Maria invited Rana to play with her. Rana mentioned that she had never been on a school trip before, so she didn't really know where to go. Maria then asked Rana to choose, which made Rana happy because Maria was so thoughtful towards her. When Tetsuhiko noticed Sueharu deep in thought, he guessed that Sueharu was probably thinking about Kuroha. He found it strange since Sueharu and Kuroha usually made up quickly after fights, but Sueharu said this time was different. Tetsuhiko commented that Sueharu had become complicated, even though the cause was the usual problem and their relationship was getting worse. Sueharu then asked what Tetsuhiko would do if he were in his position. Tetsuhiko said he would conquer everything and build a harem. Sueharu called Tetsuhiko useless, but Tetsuhiko said he never told Sueharu to hurt any girls. Instead, he encouraged him to make everyone happy. Even if the outcome might seem a little unrealistic, wouldn't their happiness be what mattered most to Sueharu? In other words, that was a form of love and kindness towards humanity. Sueharu was shocked at how twisted Tetsuhiko's way of thinking was. He was sure that if Tetsuhiko died, it would be because a woman stabbed him. Tetsuhiko joked that would be an honor for a man. Sueharu got scared because he actually understood the dark meaning behind Tetsuhiko's words. Suddenly, Sueharu heard footsteps but found no one around. He was relieved that no one overheard their conversation. Feeling hot, Tetsuhiko suggested they go get some cold drinks. It turned out that Rana and Maria had been listening to their conversation the whole time, but Rana said she didn't really care about what they were talking about. Maria pointed out that compared to Tetsuhiko, Sueharu still thought about common sense and ethics, which was why he rejected Tetsuhiko's idea. However, she also admitted there was a part of Sueharu that envied Tetsuhiko's honesty about his desires. According to Maria, learning that Sueharu actually wanted a harem was a new discovery for her. Rana then asked what the point of knowing something like that was. Maria asked Rana for her opinion on Maria's own position. Rana said that in terms of romance, Maria clearly lost to Kuroha and Shirakusa. Rana emphasized that she wasn't talking about physical attraction. Maria admitted that she was indeed behind Kuroha and Shirakusa, but not by much. She believed that was because Sueharu didn't see her as a potential partner yet. So Maria's best option was to make Sueharu turn his attention to her, while Kuroha and Shirakusa were busy competing for him. Rana said that usually the concept of a harem is to choose everyone, but it can also mean not choosing all of them. Maria described her plan as dividing Sueharu into 3 parts. Soon, they all arrived at Shirakusa's father's villa. Upon arrival, Shirakusa asked what Sueharu thought about the place. Sueharu immediately knelt down to thank Shirakusa for bringing him there. Shirakusa felt awkward about his exaggerated reaction. Tetsuhiko said that Sueharu was weak in front of people who had money and power. Rana commented that ordinary people naturally feel weak around great people. Sueharu told them to stop talking like that and even scolded Rana for insulting him. Eri then stepped in to calm the situation. She asked Shirakusa to open the door and told the guys to carry their things inside the villa. Everyone was amazed when they saw the inside of the villa. Shirakusa explained that all the rooms were located on the first floor. There were 5 rooms in total, and each room was equipped with 2 beds. She then began assigning the rooms. Maria hoped to share a room with Sueharu. Shirakusa said that Maria would share a room with Eri, while Sueharu would share with Tetsuhiko. Shirakusa herself would share with Rana, and the remaining 2 rooms would be for Kuroha and the other girls. Everyone agreed with this room arrangement. The bathroom was on the 3rd floor, and the terrace there offered a beautiful view, though it looked even better under a starry sky. At that time, they were all gathered on the balcony, relaxing together. Sueharu suggested to Shirakusa that everyone should wear swimsuits and take a bath together, but Shirakusa immediately stopped him. Tetsuhiko then remarked that it seemed possible to jump off the balcony into the pool. Without warning, he pushed Sueharu, causing him to fall into the pool. Meanwhile, Kuroha was practicing her dance moves and making study notes for Sue Haru because she realized her role was somewhat like that of an older sister to him. Akane praised Kuroha's dedication even though Sue Haru was probably busy playing around and likely taking advantage of Kuroha's absence to skip studying. Kuroha imagined Sue Haru being approached by Maria, who was wearing a revealing swimsuit. She pictured Maria sticking close to him and teasing him endlessly. Kuroha immediately looked upset and intimidating. Akane quickly called Aoi, asking her to come home from club activities right away because she wasn't confident she could handle Kuroha alone. At that moment, Sue Haru was playing volleyball with Maria while Rana was recording their activities. Tetsuhiko told Rana to join the game instead since he forbade filming while wearing swimsuits. Rana promptly turned off her camera and removed some layers of clothing. She was wearing a very cute swimsuit underneath. Maria complimented Rana, saying she looked adorable in it. Sue Haru glanced at Rana, but then Tetsuhiko suddenly tackled him. Soon after, Shirakusa sent a message to Sue Haru, saying she wanted to show him her swimsuit, but was too shy to do it in front of everyone else. She asked him to leave through the front door, then walk to the right and meet her at the small sandy beach so she could show him quietly. After reading the message, Sue Haru immediately went to the designated spot. After waiting a moment, Shirakusa appeared. Sue Haru laughed, thinking Shirakusa would show him her in a bikini. Shirakusa said she was wearing an outer layer because she didn't want anyone to see. Then she took off the outer layer and revealed her bikini. She asked what Sue Haru thought about how she looked. Sue Haru didn't know what to say at first, but she urged him to explain in detail. He said that she looked really great and beautiful, so much so that it moved him emotionally. Hearing this, Shirakusa slumped down weakly. Sue Haru even started to worry about her, but she said she felt very happy because she had always wanted him to say those things to her. She even shed tears. Shirakusa asked to sit close to Sue Haru, and unexpectedly, she sat on his lap, which made both of them a little nervous. Suddenly, Sue Haru's phone rang. It was Maria calling. She asked if Sue Haru was having fun. Sue Haru asked if Maria was watching him, but it turned out she was recording him. Tetsuhiko's laughter was heard in the background. Sue Haru was confused about why they needed to record him and asked Maria to tell the person next to her to stop recording immediately. Maria said she had a message from the person beside her, saying they were recording Shirakusa in her swimsuit and asked if Sue Haru wanted a copy of the footage. Sue Haru said he definitely wanted it. Maria added that she had wanted to confront them immediately, but Tetsuhiko insisted on recording first, so she held herself back and was very angry at that moment. Maria quickly chased after Sue Haru, who was trying to run away. After catching him, she refused to let go because she wanted to sit on his lap as well. Shirakusa tried to separate Maria from Sue Haru, but unexpectedly, Sue Haru accidentally touched Maria's chest, which made her angry and almost want to attack him. After that, Sue Haru and Rana studied together, while Maria was dancing. Rana asked Sue Haru not to pay attention to Maria and told him to focus on studying. At that moment, Sue Haru realized that Maria was actually a scholarship student who maintained top grades. Rana then asked if Sue Haru had thought she was dumb all this time. Sue Haru responded by asking if Rana wasn't the same type as him. Rana said she wouldn't even want to be considered the same type as Sue Haru. Hearing that, Sue Haru immediately pinched Rana's cheek. Meanwhile, Maria was dancing very well. Shirakusa finally realized that Maria was truly an actress. After Maria finished her dance performance, it was Shirakusa's turn to dance. She looked nervous while dancing. Tetsuhiko commented that Shirakusa didn't look cute while dancing and asked her to show her cute side. Sue Haru then offered to show off his dancing skills. Tetsuhiko pointed out that Sue Haru hadn't practiced at all. Sue Haru said at least he had mastered the basic moves. Tetsuhiko then invited him to demonstrate. Surprisingly, Sue Haru was even able to show a cute side while dancing. Reina couldn't forgive herself for ever thinking Sue Haru was cute. According to Tetsuhiko, Sue Haru's expression during that enlightenment was depressing. Reina even said she hated heaven for giving Sue Haru that talent. Maria called Sue Haru's performance amazing. Sue Haru asked Shirakusa what she thought about his dancing. Shirakusa said he was really good. Sue Haru explained that he hadn't been able to dance before due to trauma, but the small reason he could dance again was because he wanted to dance for someone. Then Sue Haru asked if Shirakusa wanted to show her dance. If she did, he promised to give her a smile. Shirakusa smiled and thanked him. After that, Maria got ready to cook in the kitchen. She asked Sue Haru to hold her tight so she wouldn't wander off too far. Sue Haru was obviously surprised and asked her to stop startling him. Maria said she was only half joking. What she really needed was help because she wanted to make chenko stew. Sue Haru asked why she was only half joking. Maria replied by asking if he wanted her to be 100% joking. Sueharu then asked where Shirakusa was. Maria said Shirakusa had just left through the front door without saying anything. Sueharu hurried to find Shirakusa. Suddenly, Maria said she didn't care about the cooking competition anymore. At that moment, Shirakusa was deep in thought. Even though she had practiced after learning about Sueharu's favorite food, she wondered why the theme of the cooking competition was stew, something she knew nothing about. Sueharu approached Shirakusa by the beach, but she told him she wanted to be alone. Sueharu asked Shirakusa not to hide her weaknesses because he knew she wouldn't even leave the house gate without crying. Hearing that, Shirakusa said she was different from who she used to be since she had grown strong enough to stand beside Sueharu. It wasn't that Sueharu didn't care about strength, but he felt that if Shirakusa was suffering by being obsessed with being strong, he didn't want that for her. Being too weak wasn't good either, but there were things more important than strength. For Sueharu, honesty was the most important thing, and it seemed like Shirakusa was hurting herself by not being honest. Shirakusa understood what Sueharu was saying, but she was still scared. Sueharu realized Shirakusa had never actually seen anyone cooking a stew before and that she was trying to learn how to make his favorite food, which as it turned out, Sueharu had overheard earlier. Shirakusa got embarrassed even though she wanted to look cool without saying anything. Sueharu was happy because Shirakusa was practicing for him and he definitely planned to eat whatever she made. Sueharu asked what kind of food Shirakusa had been practicing, and she said she was working on fried chicken and had already bought the ingredients. Even though the cooking contest was supposed to be about stew, Sueharu said he would let the others know and told Shirakusa to focus on cooking. Shirakusa mentioned that Sueharu always did things she couldn't easily do. Sueharu denied that, saying he couldn't even write a novel if she could. According to Shirakusa, Sueharu always gave her a huge boost of courage and strength, even though she could be stubborn, negative, and scared. Without realizing it, they looked into each other's eyes and were about to kiss. But suddenly, Sueharu remembered a warning from Aoi about being careful with magical tourism. They let go of each other's hands and walked toward the villa. The next day, Kuroha showed up at the villa and woke Sueharu, who was still asleep. Sueharu was surprised to see Kuroha and her younger sisters there. Kuroha woke Sueharu up while he was still sleeping. As he opened his eyes, he was startled to see Kuroha there with her 3 younger sisters. Sueharu pointed out how strange it was that it was already 11 o'clock. But Kuroha argued that they should be the ones saying that and that Sueharu should have said something to her. Instead, he accused Kuroha of always wanting things to go her way. That comment ticked her off and she looked like she was about to hit him, but Midori quickly stepped in and stopped her, reminding her not to lose her temper in front of everyone. All then apologized for her older sister causing a scene. After that, everyone gathered together. Kuroha asked Tetsuhiko what their plan was for the rest of the day. Tetsuhiko said he wanted to see Kuroha's dance and asked her to perform together with Shirakusa and Maria. After lunch, they were going to build the stage and certain members had to get some practice in. He also suggested they could have a little fun at the beach after lunch. Maria, Kuroha, and Shirakusa then performed their dance routine. Tetsuhiko praised Maria's steady moves and said Kuroha's weren't any less impressive. Sueharu added that Kuroha's voice also sounded beautiful. Tetsuhiko noted that Shirakusa's performance had also improved a lot since the last time. Rana brought Shirakusa a towel and asked if she was doing okay. Shirakusa thanked her and said she was fine. Sueharu then handed Shirakusa a drink and told her that her dancing had really gotten better. Shirakusa was happy to hear the compliment and said it was all thanks to Sueharu's advice. Seeing how close they were made Kuroha feel like she needed to step things up. Soon after, everyone changed into swimsuits and headed to the beach to play. Midori looked completely thrilled to be enjoying the beach scenery. Tetsuhiko and Sueharu noticed her and were taken aback by how great she looked. Not long after, the twins Aoi and Akane greeted Sueharu, and once again, he was stunned by their appearance. He started looking around for Kuroha. Soon enough, Kuroha walked toward him with a bright smile wearing a swimsuit that really caught his attention. Sueharu was clearly amazed by how she looked. Tetsuhiko commented that even though Kuroha was his childhood friend, it was probably the first time Sueharu had ever seen her like that, as a potential romantic partner. Sueharu didn't take that well and immediately hit Tetsuhiko out of embarrassment and frustration. A moment later, Eri, Maria, Shirakusa, and Rana arrived. But instead of reacting normally, Sueharu got distracted, his eyes fixated on Rana's chest as it bounced when she walked. Rana, however, didn't seem to notice and cheerfully brought over a watermelon, saying they were going to play the watermelon splitting game. At that point, Midori leaned in and whispered to Kuroha, pointing out that Shirakusa, the Akutami award-winning author, was there. Kuroha reminded her that she had seen Shirakusa before. Midori admitted she had only glanced at her back then and now realized how truly beautiful she was. She added that, in her opinion, Kuroha couldn't beat Shirakusa when it came to looks, height, or even her figure. Kuroha looked like she was about to scold Midori for saying that, but then Shirakusa walked over and gently said that Midori was just honest and kind. She even said she wanted to have a little chat with her. Midori, still being blunt, said that Kuroha's personality couldn't compare to Shirakusa's either and claimed the only thing Kuroha was better at was being sneaky. That was the last straw for Kuroha, who looked like she was going to hit her, but Midori quickly dodged and hid behind Sueharu. Sueharu tried to stop Kuroha from chasing her. Kuroha then said she needed to talk to Sueharu alone and dragged him off by the ear. She pulled him into some bushes and said that when she had shown up earlier, Sueharu had picked a fight and she assumed he was upset with her. Sueharu admitted that he was angry because Kuroha had lied to him and didn't even try to apologize. He asked if it was wrong for him to be mad about that. Kuroha suddenly threw herself against him and told him that he didn't trust her anyway, so from now on she would say, "I like you" 10 times more often. She said she'd say it whenever she felt like it, and all she asked was that he just listen and treat it like a joke. Sueharu was stunned, thinking Kuroha had completely embraced the darkness. He started listing all the different versions of her: Ultimate Kuroha, Pure Kuroha, Sergeant Kuroha. But the one standing in front of him now was a totally different Kuroha. To him, she was like an alternate version, someone he referred to as Alter Kuroha. Kuroha declared that from that moment on, she was officially at war with Sueharu and told him to be ready. Sueharu was convinced she was just having one of her moments. They were soaking in the sea when Kuroha commented that the water made Sueharu's body look more masculine, and she liked it. Hearing that, Sueharu got nervous. Kuroha was puzzled by Sueharu's blushing and thought he looked really cute, then repeated that she liked him. While they were playing volleyball, Sueharu couldn't handle Maria's serve and fell onto the sand. Kuroha rushed over to check if he was okay and once again told him that she liked him. Later, as Sueharu was relaxing, Kuroha reminded him not to skip the study session later and threw in another "I like you" just for good measure. Even when Sueharu was exhausted and drinking water to rehydrate, Kuroha walked over and said she liked him. Sueharu was getting irritated. To him, it felt overwhelming and he couldn't understand how she came up with that idea in the first place. He felt like she was messing with him. Sueharu swore not to forgive her until she apologized and explained her reasons. Her constant "I like you" was seriously messing with his head. Tetsuhiko then showed up to say that Kuroha had asked Sueharu to join the study session. She had prepared exam questions for him. 5 subjects in total, each with a 30-minute time limit. Afterward, they would take a short break to help set up the stage. Sueharu didn't think that sounded like much of a break. While going through the questions, he realized they looked familiar. He suspected Kuroha had taken the time to create questions based on the ones he had previously gotten wrong. Even though she needed to be practicing dancing and singing, she still made time to help him study. Sueharu remembered how, thanks to Kuroha's help, he had managed to get into a school that was said to be nearly impossible to get accepted into. He began to realize how much she had always supported him. Motivated, he gave himself a little pep talk by patting his cheeks and jumped right into the practice questions. And even during the study session, Kuroha still found a way to sneak in another "I like you." Later, Sueharu and the others worked together to build the stage. Akane asked where they should place the speakers and Sueharu found it a bit odd that she was curious about something like that. Akane admitted that she hadn't met up with the other club members since summer break because she didn't really get along with them. Curious, Sueharu asked why and Akane explained that she joined the club to improve her music skills, but the others weren't interested in practicing. Despite their lack of ability, they were full of talk, so she had stopped caring. Sueharu understood. It sounded frustrating. Akane then mentioned how surprised she was that Sueharu had so many friends. He asked if she thought he seemed like someone who didn't have any. Akane apologized and said she didn't mean it that way. She just felt that when she saw him talking to people she didn't know, it seemed like he was moving farther away. Out of the blue, Sueharu told Tetsuhiko that Akane had some ideas about where to place the speakers. That caught Akane off guard, but Sueharu encouraged her to share whatever was on her mind and promised to take care of the rest. Once everything was set up, Tetsuhiko praised the speaker arrangement and Sueharu complimented Akane, saying he hadn't expected it to turn out that well. Akane thanked him and Sueharu wondered why she was thanking him. After all, he hadn't done anything. That evening, they had a barbecue together. Sueharu asked if Shirakusa was feeling okay. She said she wasn't feeling well, and Sueharu guessed it was probably because she had been training non-stop for the past 2 days. He asked Midori to check on her condition. After a quick check, Midori suggested wrapping Shirakusa's calves or even using a cold compress. She left right away to get things ready. Sueharu asked if Shirakusa could still walk. She said she could manage. Kuroha quietly observed how much attention Sueharu was giving Shirakusa. Later that night, while Tetsuhiko was still asleep, Sueharu stepped out and headed to the beach, where he saw Shirakusa still practicing, even though her leg was clearly in pain. Not long after, Shirakusa's phone rang. Sueharu hid while listening to Shirakusa talking to Meiko on the phone. At that moment, he heard Shirakusa say that she wouldn't force herself to stand beside Sueharu. Instead, she wanted to walk slightly behind him and be someone who'd support him whenever he was going through something difficult. That was when Sueharu finally realized that Shirakusa actually felt the same way he did. She even wanted to be more honest and said that from that moment on, she planned to start asking for Sueharu's advice and depend on him. However, she believed it would be wrong to rely on him so easily without making any effort first, and it wouldn't be respectful either. She didn't want to be the same version of herself who used to lean on him all the time. Even though her legs still hurt, Shirakusa kept practicing. She wanted to show Sueharu that she could do it as long as she had the will. She also wanted to tell him that it was thanks to him that she had come this far. She fell again and Sueharu could only watch from a distance, quietly cheering her on. To Sueharu, first love felt like poison. It was something that should have been healed by a new love, but the poison of that first love still lingered, eating away at him. Unbeknownst to him, Akane was watching all of it unfold from the balcony. Oi came over to her and realized what Akane had been looking at. Akane didn't understand why her chest felt tight. It was something she had never experienced before. But when she saw Sueharu, she felt an ache in her heart. Aoi hugged her immediately. She didn't want Akane to end up feeling the same way because to her, that kind of feeling was like a poison that even light couldn't reach. Even the smallest things could make her feel happy and excited to the point she'd forget herself, only to end up feeling sad later. She knew her feelings might clash with Kuroha's and Midori's too, so she asked wasn't there even a small chance for someone like her and Akane. Akane asked her to let go because it was starting to hurt. Oi quickly apologized. Akane then asked if Oi was really okay. Oi said she was. Akane thought that if love was poison, then lying must be the medicine, and not a healing one. It was a kind of medicine used just to fool oneself and keep everyone else from worrying. But the more she used that medicine, the more it hurt her own heart because every lie made her real feelings even stronger. The next day, they gathered near the stage. Kuroha greeted Sueharu, but he walked straight over to Shirakusa to ask how she was doing. Shirakusa said she was fine, but Sueharu insisted on checking to make sure. Seeing how concerned he was for Shirakusa made Kuroha feel sad. Rena kept filming the whole scene and asked Tetsuhiko what the meaning behind their conversation was, but even he didn't know. Suddenly, Maria admitted she had underestimated Shirakusa. Sueharu asked Shirakusa if she was really sure she could do it, and she answered confidently that she could. He encouraged her with a smile. Then they started filming. Shirakusa, Kuroha, and Maria danced and sang together in perfect sync. The song was about a summer love story, filled with memories of playing watermelon-splitting games, splashing in the ocean, playing cards, and eating together. They managed to finish the song smoothly. Sueharu felt genuinely happy seeing how far Shirakusa had come through her hard work. He asked Tetsuhiko if the performance was good enough. Tetsuhiko suggested they record another take since they still had time, but Sueharu refused. For him, it was already more than enough and didn't need a redo. The truth was, he was worried about Shirakusa's condition. As Shirakusa walked over to where Sueharu and Tetsuhiko were standing, they seemed to be in the middle of a disagreement. Right then, she felt pain in her leg as she stepped down from the stage. Just as she was about to fall, Sueharu rushed forward and caught her. Unfortunately, his right arm broke from the strain of catching her, and everyone around them was shocked. Tetsuhiko immediately asked Rena to find the nearest hospital and told Eri to prepare a car. Shirakusa cried, feeling responsible for what happened. But Sueharu told her she was still as emotional as ever, and he asked her not to worry about him. The next day at school, Mitsuru approached Tetsuhiko. However, Tetsuhiko told him to leave. Mitsuru said he was glad because things had turned out just as he expected. He asked how the school trip had gone, but Tetsuhiko didn't seem in the mood to talk. Mitsuru casually mentioned that he got into Keio University through a recommendation, so he had plenty of time to wait until Tetsuhiko was ready to talk. Tetsuhiko replied that as long as he got to film the promotional video with the female members, that was enough for him. He didn't want to get involved in the love drama between the four of them. According to him, Shirakusa was the one who ended up winning. While they were on the trip, he noticed that Maria had been too focused on watching out for Kuroha and hadn't really tried to stop Shirakusa. Maria seemed to think that by letting Shirakusa get closer to Sueharu, the competition between her and Kuroha would heat up. But that turned out to be a big mistake. On the third day of the trip, Tetsuhiko, Rana, and Sueharu recorded the girls' stage performances, Kuroha, Shirakusa, and Maria. The footage that Sueharu shot ended up only focusing on Shirakusa, which made it pretty clear who would capture his attention. Mitsuru said that from what he had heard directly from Shirakusa, her plan had completely fallen apart. He then asked what had actually happened between her and Sueharu. Tetsuhiko replied that he hadn't seen it firsthand, so he didn't know for sure. But even if her plan had failed, that didn't necessarily mean her feelings had failed too. Mitsuru started to wonder if, because Shirakusa's plan didn't work, Sueharu had stepped in to protect her. Based on that, Mitsuru guessed that Sueharu preferred Shirakusa's clumsy yet determined personality over Kuroha's more forward and assertive nature. Tetsuhiko agreed, saying that he had thought that from the very beginning. Sueharu clearly liked Shirakusa more than Kuroha. Mitsuru pointed out that things were about to get chaotic, especially now that Shirakusa would be living in the same house as Sueharu. After school, Suchiru picked up Shirakusa, Sueharu, and Kuroha. He explained that Shirakusa would be staying at Sueharu's house to take responsibility for the injury Sueharu had suffered. She would be handling all of his needs since it would be difficult for him to manage daily tasks with an injured arm. Suchiru had also already spoken with Sueharu's father and gotten his permission. Kuroha argued that it wasn't appropriate to have high school girls spend the night at a classmate's house, but then it turned out that Suchiru had also arranged for Shion to stay at Sueharu's house as well. Kuroha volunteered to take care of Sueharu herself, but Shirakusa asked her to let her take responsibility instead, since she was the one who had caused him to get hurt in the first place.